Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. It is the first week of October, which means that it is officially spooky season. If you're wondering about this painting behind me, I painted it yesterday. I actually recorded myself painting it. I actually edited the video. I was going to post it this week, but I then deleted the footage. Anyway, getting into today's video, since it is spooky season, I am going to be talking about a very spooky subject. This is the urban legend that everyone knows, and I'm not going to say loves because it's too creepy to love. Bloody Mary.
Bloody Mary.
Actually, the origin of. So let's get to it. Bloody Mary is Mary Tudor, daughter of King Henry VIII and Catherine of Aragon. So the whole Catherine of Aragon, King Henry VIII thing started out kind of gross as she was married to King Henry VIII's older brother, but after he passed away, wanting to preserve the alliance between Spain and England, Henry VIII married Catherine with the approval of the Catholic Church, saying that the marriage between Catherine and Henry's older brother was never properly consummated. So Henry and Catherine got married. They tried and tried and tried to have kids. After many miscarriages and stillbirths, they had a daughter, Mary. Now, back in this time era, a king needed a male heir to ensure that his line and his reign was stable. Catherine did not provide Henry with a male heir, so Henry's eyes and other parts of his body began to stray from his wife to other women, one of these women being Anne Boleyn. Anne Boleyn is the mother of Elizabeth I. She is the woman who converted Henry into Protestantism, basically because the Catholic Church would not agree to Henry's annulment or divorce from Catherine, and so Henry created the Church of England, of which he was the head, so he could announce whether he was divorced or not. He decided he was divorced because he wanted to get in Anne's pants, and they were married. They had Elizabeth I, and whenever Anne was not able to provide Henry with a male heir, he beheaded her. This led to wife number 3, Jane Seymour, who did provide Henry with a male heir, but she died in childbirth. Then there was Anne of Cleves, and Henry divorced her because he said she was ugly, but honestly, it was because she embarrassed him by pointing out the fact that he was old and gross. Then he married Catherine Howard, who he then beheaded because she cheated on him, because she was like a child, and he was like a very grotesque, large, old man. When a queen committed adultery, it was seen as treason, and the punishment for treason is death. So Catherine Howard was beheaded. Then came the last Catherine. She actually outlived Henry. She was basically like a nursemaid. At the time of Henry's death, he declared that his line of succession went his only son, Edward, all of Edward's descendants, then it would go to Mary, then Elizabeth. This changed line of succession for many years, and until recently it stayed this way, that it was the male heirs before the females, but in the recent years they have changed it to where it is birth order, whether they be male or female. Female power. So after the death of Henry VIII, his son Edward took the throne. Edward did not reign for very long before he died. After the death of Edward, there was a lot of dispute over who would take the throne, because there were claims coming from his wife and her family saying that since they were married, she should have the throne, blah 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 blah. But there are also claims coming from Mary Tudor, because she was the rightful heir to the throne, and she had to not only suffer through the trauma of her father continuously banishing her throughout her life, but she also had to live through the fact that her younger brother basically got everything that was her birthright. It was her birthright to rule, it was her birthright to be queen, it was her birthright to be on that throne, and yet since her brother was a male, he got it. So as you can probably guess, Mary was a bit of a vengeful person. I mean, she basically watched her mother be tortured by her father so that he could get a divorce from her, and she was basically tortured by her father because she was a girl, and then watched her brother take her reign. And then he dies and his little wife wants to take her reign. Oh no. So sister got the throne, obviously. Mary was raised as a Catholic. She was a very devout Catholic. It was quite obvious that Mary was a Catholic, living in a Protestant country because her father was Protestant. Why? Because he wanted to divorce her mom. So it can be assumed that Mary was not fond of Protestants, mainly because, you know, the whole thing with her dad, but also because it was basically telling her that her beliefs and her religion was wrong, and there was a lot of hatred between the Catholics and the Protestants in this time era. A lot of hatred. A lot of hatred. Like wars over this, guys. Wars. Anyway, Mary was not a very forgiving woman when it came to being a Protestant. She burned a lot of Protestants at the stake. She commanded the deaths of a lot of Protestants. This is where she originally got the name Bloody Mary.
Bloody Mary.
Because she killed a lot of people. A lot of people. Crazy runs in the family. Anyway, so further along in her rule, there is a lot of pressure from the people to put Elizabeth first on the throne. This is because Elizabeth is a Protestant, and the Protestants are tired of being burned at the stake by their queen. So they want Elizabeth on the throne. This brings a lot of fear into Mary, because if Elizabeth takes the throne, she loses everything, including her life. So Mary marries this guy to provide more stability to her reign, to provide backing of another country, and also for the chance to have an heir. Mary thinks that she is pregnant. Her stomach gets bigger, she goes through all the symptoms, everything that involves pregnancy, but just a little bit before time to give birth, she is bedridden and nothing happens. Her stomach shrinks and everything goes back to normal. No baby. Fast forward a little bit in her years, Mary continues to be completely insane. There are a lot of rumors surrounding her death. People are basically just waiting for her to kick the bucket at this time that she holds firm. She thinks she's pregnant again. Same thing happens. Stomach grows, all the sicknesses, everything that comes with being pregnant. But this time, she dies. This is the end of Mary. She is dead. And Elizabeth takes the throne, brings England into a golden age type thing, and everything is happy. So that is the story of Bloody Mary.
Bloody Mary.
It's kind of sad, honestly. This girl watched her father change the course of a country just so he could leave her mother. It was just what I could imagine a terrible childhood. And then once she actually became queen, she was under constant threat of losing that just because of her beliefs. I mean, yeah, she was completely insane with burning people at the stake, and that was way, way out of hand. But, I mean, she was psycho. But it was also a pretty sad life. And to think that, you know, she went through all those things thinking that she was pregnant, only in the end to be rewarded with nothing. I mean, in the end, be rewarded with death. It's kind of sad. And I know a lot of you are probably like, oh, that's not the story of Bloody Mary. Because, I mean, growing up, that's not the story I heard. I always heard that it was just a woman who lost her baby, who was looking for her baby, and so she would come look for her baby whenever you called for her. Once I got older and I learned more about Henry VIII and Elizabeth I, because I found that super interesting, and I learned that that's where the legend of Bloody Mary came from, it made a lot more sense. Also, who would willingly do that? Who would willingly want someone to show up in their mirror behind them? Because that's kind of terrifying. I mean, you're just like asking for some bad juju there. You're asking for something to come in and haunt your house then. Which is why I will not be doing that in this video. Sorry. But anyway, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know I enjoyed talking about it. If you like this video, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to me, turn on my post notifications so you can see when I post again. Anyway, see you later.